Representative Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I wanted to switch gears here a little bit to gaming issues. I have a lot of organizations from my district that are calling to see if the games of skill is legal and whether they can put them in their establishments. Do you have an opinion on whether they are legal or not, and can they, and if, well, I guess, can you answer that question first?
Sure, thank you. Our opinion is that those so-called games of skill are not legal under current law. That is the opinion of the state police that they have been talking about, and we support their position on this. There are a couple of cases that are working their way through the courts to seek a ruling on that specifically. But we believe that the presence of those games of skill out there in an unregulated and untaxed way is having a detrimental impact on the lottery, but also on the casinos.
Thank you. And then you just answered my next question. So it does you feel that it does play a role. If they're there, which I would consider illegally, under that opinion, we aren't getting any revenue from that. All that revenue is going to the organizations and nothing back to the state. Yes,
correct. I'd like to ask Drew Svitko to speak to the specific effect on the lottery.
Yeah, thanks. We definitely feel, we know that these machines are having an effect on the lottery. They're having a direct sales effect, particularly on scratch-offs. Our scratch-off sales, we had a team of economists look at this, and we estimate $95 million a year in lost scratch-off sales to the presence of those machines. Moreover, they're also hurting our ability to expand our monitor games. They represent competition in the exact environments in which we're trying to get our monitors for Keno and Express Sports.
How about VGTs? I mean, is that, so I think Act 42 included VGTs at trucking terminals, correct? Or trucking, truck stops, I guess would be the word. So is that system up and running? I'm not, have they been implemented?
Not yet. We are working with the Gaming Control Board as we essentially our involvement is to run a central control computer system that will control all the machines. We're working with the Gaming Control Board. They have a much more in-depth job to do in terms of testing all of the equipment, licensing the entities, and they're still working through that process. So none of them have actually been.
How long do you think that's going to be until they're in place, until they're implemented?
I would think that sometime in the next 3 to 6 months, some of those will be up and running.
And that is revenue coming into the state.
Correct.
That's helping. So it's going to help the lottery, not hurt it.
Well, let me say this to you, that program will generate general fund revenue. I would think that that's still some kind of risk to the lottery, but at least it's limited in current law.
And when you're looking at revenue coming into the state, are you taking into account that other states around us might be implementing casinos or doing some other things that might take some of the revenue from us? So is that all in your plan and as you're looking at the budgets?
So when we're looking at the impact, we definitely look for other states and the expansion that other states have seen, or when there's an expansion of gaming options, what effect that had on the lottery. And we apply that model to here. So it's more of a global projection than looking at specific cases, but we absolutely take market conditions into account, and if we're surrounded by those options, then that's certainly something we consider.
Are you seeing any revenue, or do you feel there's any revenue as these VGTs come on board? Do you think the casinos are going to see less people coming there, and is that going to affect money coming in from the casinos?
I do not know the answer to that question. The Gaming Board might be in a better position to answer that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.